This is the Siri Bek Show on Wiz Sports Radio, episode number 5. The Siri Bek Show. We share our life experiences. Sport is a vehicle through which we have found our true selves. We hope to help inspire all of you to do the same. And today we're going to be talking about wrapping up the ends of our careers as professional triathletes and some of the things we learned along the way.
Lots of things we learned along the way, because I would say that the greatest lessons in life are pretty much learned through sport. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. And you don't really realize that till you sort of look back at your career. And I look back on my career, and it's the first time not that long ago I looked back and was actually really proud of what I've achieved and realized that I'm just very fortunate to be able to have done what I did in the sport and actually have some reflection and be proud of that instead of thinking about what I didn't do and what I didn't achieve. So.
Which oftentimes, would you say, when you're involved in the sport, you kind of lose perspective a little bit, don't you? I know as an athlete, I used to think, oh, my God, if I have one day off, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose all my fitness. And that was such craziness. Because as coaches now, we realize that you can take a day off and all it's going to do is help you be that much better, right?
Yeah, I was much better at it after having you as my coach. I think earlier on I would struggle having rest days. I think I remembered, I've already talked about this once before, but I think I went 5 or 6 years without one day off.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I literally, even on rest days, I would always do something, and that's the thing. It takes that hunger and that drive to be the best in the world. And although I was never won a world championship in Hawaii, I was always in the sort of the top 10. So, and you were too. So I know from your stories, you had the same thing. It's just that hunger and that grit to just be striving every day, and it was the fear of failing that drove that. But looking back, I think I'd encourage my athletes to have more days off because I think it was a detriment in the end.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's almost a harder decision for a lot of athletes to have a day off than it is to train when you're exhausted. And it's all a mental thing. It's their mind saying, oh, my God, have a day off. You're going to fall behind. And that's just not the truth. We both realize now that days off are when your body can truly recharge and rejuvenate, not just your body, but your mind gets a chance to rejuvenate. And that's the key. Without those days off, you really do put your body in danger of getting injured and putting your mind in danger of getting burnt out.
Yeah, and I think it's even harder for our guys. All my athletes that I coach are my incredible age group athletes. None of them are professional, and they're so grateful. And I think for them it's even harder because they have to work all day. They get up. One of my guys, Matty Vella, gets up at 3:30 to make his swim session, and then he stands on his legs all day working at Apple, and then he tries to do a session in the evening. And we're so lucky as pros, most of us, to train full time. Even some age groups get to train full time. But I have so much kudos for those guys because they don't get the recovery that we do, and that's why most of my age group guys only do sort of one session a day during the week, and they do their double sessions on weekends, and they have family and kids and all sorts. So I bow to my age group athletes, and I'm really proud of them. They have a great work ethic, and they're my everything.
Absolutely. And I think one of the major lessons I learned as an athlete was that the balance is so crucially important. I remember going into the 2000 Olympic trials, and I thought that I needed to go off to Australia for most of the year all by myself. No visiting from my mom or anybody that I cared about, and that I had to do this on my own because it was up to me. And triathlon's a solo sport, and I've got to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. And that totally backfired. And what I realized is that the importance of the team, the importance of having training partners that can elevate you, having the support of your loved ones or your family. You need that balance, not just spiritually, but to keep your perspective, that it's not just life or death, that every race is life or death, but triathlon is a vehicle through which you're going to find yourself, a vehicle through which you're going to learn about winning and losing, but also an opportunity to learn how to balance family, career, your own health, and being the best that you can be as a human being. I think that was the key lesson that I learned.
Sorry, I got a little distracted then. That snoring noise you can hear is actually our dog. My dog, he's 12, and he's snoring while we're recording, so please excuse that. It is not me. I'm not falling asleep. It's my dog Byron. I'm trying to move him so he stops snoring, but so I got a little distracted there. But yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But let's fast forward a little bit, because last time we talked about our careers and some of our most amazing races, and some of the races that had something happen at the start or during the event that end up being like your world championship. You came out of the water last, I think, almost, and ended up winning the world championship, and just shifted your mindset completely in that race, and that made you you became a world champion from that. So moving on, the last couple of races, how did you know that it was time? Was it a decision you made instinctively, or did you just have a bad end or a bad race, or how did you know your body told you? What was something that you think struck a chord to say maybe it's time?
So after the 2001 World Championships, where I won, I remember crossing that line, and it was the happiest I'd ever been. And I thought, I have found what I'm looking for. And what I was so desperate to find through the sport was a love and appreciation for myself. And I knew that I had set this impossible goal for myself, not knowing how to swim at age 23 when I took up the sport, and saying to myself that I wanted to become the best in the world in the sport of triathlon. Like, that was an impossible dream. But on that day in 2001, I'd proven to myself that if I want something bad enough, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen, that I can even make the impossible dream come true. So on that day, I was ready to retire. I'd found what I was looking for. But in my mind, I thought, first of all, am I going to believe that this wasn't just a fluke? Mm-hmm. Am I going to believe that I'm not just a one-shot wonder and I got lucky? And what are other people going to think? Like, if I retire now, this will easily be forgotten, and I would not have proven to myself that I can not only be a winner, but that I can stay at the top. So my goal very quickly became, I'm going to put together one more year, and the ultimate goal is to stay at number one in the world, hold on to that ranking, and be able to retire the following year at number one in the world. And
so that was 2001.
That was 2001.
So when was the streak where you had like the 8 World Cup wins in a row? Was that?
That was in 2001. I had 6 wins in a row. And then 2002, I was able to put together, I think, 4 in a row, and I won, I think, shabby. 2 more that year.
So before the World Championship?
Before the World Championship. Okay. And my last race, so I was ranked number 1 in the world all year in 2002. And the day I retired, I went into the Cancun World Championships in the shape of my life. But I had worked myself into oblivion. My body was so exhausted. I was sleeping like 2 hours a night, complete insomniac, but somehow my body kept stepping up and performing for me. But I was so ready to stop. I had like severe plantar fasciitis. It felt like I was like landing on a knife every single step. And I was just
If you don't know what plantar fasciitis is,
terrible.
Guys, it's under the arch of your foot. It gets really, really tight. I know a lot of athletes. I had it as well. Everyone seems to have suffered from it at some stage in their life, and it's really hard to get rid of if it becomes chronic. Siri's was so bad that I remember a session Brett gave her, and he said, when you get on the treadmill, you can either do 20 1K reps at 19, or you can do one at 21 or 22 kilometers an hour. It was like 12 miles an hour. And if you do that, you can stop. And she was in so much pain that she decided she was just going to get on and do like one at like, I think it was like 13 miles an hour. And then it ripped.
It ripped. It completely tore. But I was thinking, like, that's where I'm saying you lose perspective. It's like, I should have just walked off and been like, that's stupid. Like, why would I do that? I actually had
the exact same experience with Brett.
What happened?
We actually had one day, this is no lie, he made me do a 52-kilometer track session. It was what's the set called?
Did you at least switch directions?
The something set. What's it called? The set of, it's a famous runner. Someone will help me with this. It's a marathoner, and it was his set, but he only did it once a day. He did it was 21K or 24K. I actually did it 2.5 times, and it was in the morning I went and did 26, must have been 26 kilometers. Then I went back and did the last 26 kilometers, and it was like 10 twos, 44s, no, 22s, 44s, 22s. I can't even remember what it was, but it was something crazy like that, nonstop running pretty much. But it was all at like 3-hour marathon pace. And the last 200, he's just like, you're on fire. This is after 51.8 kilometers. He's like, you got to just go for it. This 200, just go for it. And I took off and I ran like a 31 or something. That's how fit I was. And I felt my calf just go. And I knew in my head I was feeling it go. I mean, it's 50K in one day. And I was like, it's going to go, Brett. It's going to go. He's like, I don't care. Just go for it. Bang, tore my calf. And it was out for like 8 weeks.
But so what makes us do things like that are just crazy, where you know better? Yeah. You know in your gut.
Those. You learn. I learned, and I would fight him on sessions. Like, I think you did the similar thing, or you'd almost have to tell white lies. Yeah, I did that, or I put my seat up, or whatever. If you knew it wasn't working for you, you kind of had to just had to really listen to your body. And that's where I think when you have someone like that as a coach that pushes you and maybe doesn't believe that you're in the pain you're in, that that's where you have to just say, I need to listen to my body. And if you have a really good coach, I'm not saying Brett wasn't a great coach, he was incredible, but sometimes there's times where, and I know he's changed his perspective a little bit, and so have you, you just have to go, I've got to listen to my body. It's telling me, like, there's a bad pain, and then there's a pain was just, I'm just hurting, my heart's hurting, I'm going too hard or whatever, lactic acid, but this was a different pain.
You got to trust your body, and I'd say that's a huge lesson we both learned, is to trust your body and trust yourself first and foremost, because we both knew that we could push ourselves to oblivion, to near death if we wanted to. Yeah. And we knew that if we were tired or needed a break or needed to stop early, that we should have listened to that and trusted ourselves. Tell me about your finish, Beck.
My end of my career. Well, you were lucky. You retired at world number 1, right? Yes. I didn't get to do that. I was number 1 in 2009 ranking, but I feel like I probably should have retired. I wish now, looking back, and I don't have regrets, but I feel like my body was telling me in 2015, I think I won 4 or 5 half Ironmans, finished off winning Shepparton, my favorite race. I think it was my 5th 70.3 there. I'd won in a row. I was the hometown favorite. Obviously, that's funny how you think of races that you've always won, you somehow can go back. And it so shows that it's mental, because that race I would win and I'd be beating people like Yvonne van Vleuten and some of the Radka Radkova and people that were incredible athletes that I couldn't have beaten any other race. But I won that race because I loved it and I was confident. So it was totally a mental battle, all the other races. But I'd won that, and I should have retired in 15. And then I went and continued for another year, and I remember starting Cairns. I was really fit, but I was having so many niggles with my calves, and again, I tore it like 2K into the run, and I was like, I have to finish this marathon. I'm not going out in 2006. I'm not going out, not finishing and DNFing. So I crossed the finish line in tears because I knew that was my...
In 5th place, guys, with a torn calf. That's pretty
my marathon was like, I actually had torn it in 2 spots because I was favoring it. And I took so much ibuprofen. Siri will hate me talking about this, but I've projectile vomited the last 8 kilometers. Jenny Alcorn, my friend, actually saw me and she's like, oh, Beck. It's like, it's fine. And I think I ran like ridiculously slow. I was like, I wasn't really running. I was walking a lot of it, like a 340 or something. And I got through it, and it was a mess. I was vomiting, I was limping, and every time I thought it had come good from all the ibuprofen I was taking, I knew in my head that I'd torn it. So, yeah. So it wasn't the way I wanted to go out, but I'm glad I did that. And I didn't really come to terms with retiring until I attended a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within event and realized that triathlon is not my identity. It's not everything that I am. I'm so much more than that, and I have so much more to give back. And a legacy that I want to leave isn't even probably to do with triathlon. It's to do with helping as many people and saving as many animals as I can. And I didn't really come to that realization till then. But I still want to go back to your Siri, because your last race was similar to mine. I think, didn't you retire with did you not, you didn't DNF, but you passed out or something?
Oh, yeah. So I was in Cancun. That's right. Back to that story. In the form of my life, but I knew I was retiring after that race. And I think that's, anytime you're thinking ahead instead of being in the moment, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yes,
so
that's one thing I'll quickly add this, because age groupers always talk about time, Siri. Rennie never tells us what time she's going to finish Kona, and she doesn't even talk about that. Don't talk about your times. No. Don't have that expectation. So I just wanted to
expectations will kill you. They'll paralyze you. And the moment it looks like you're not going to reach what you've expected, you lose it mentally. So you cannot have expectations except for one, and that is to do the best that you can in as many moments as possible. Yeah. But yeah, so I got into that race, form of my life. I know I'm retiring after. I'm excited for the party at the end of the day because I'm done.
We need to talk about that party story. And I was hungry.
Oh, yeah. And I'm exhausted. And I had a decent swim. I was in the second pack, but I did the stupidest rookie mistake. I'm in Cancun, Mexico. It's 100 degrees, 97% humidity, and I forget to drink. Nice. I'm chasing down the front pack, and I'm just hammering, kind of, just hammering and not drinking. And I get to the front, get off to run. Actually, I didn't quite make it to the front. Got off to run, and literally there were 4 laps of 2.5K, and I only remember 1 lap.
Oh.
And I crossed the line, and Loretta Harrop, my training partner and my best friend, she had crossed in 12th place.
Which for her is not good either.
She had a bad race too. She got completely dehydrated.
She was then, wasn't she?
Yeah. And I crossed the line and literally passed out into her arms as she was welcoming across the finish line. And that was a rookie mistake, in sitting too much in the future and what was going to happen after this race. I forgot to take care of the little things in the moment. And that completely, my last race was 13th place, but thank God I was still number 1 in the world, and I held on to it halfway into 2013, even though I wasn't racing. But I was so ready to retire. Like, it was not even a question that I was ready to retire. And I remember USA Triathlon, there was I think it was a $10,000 bonus for being number 1 in the world. But I retired in November.
I remember this.
And they claim that I had to, if I had retired in January, I would have gotten my $10,000 bonus. But because I retired in November,
the date or something.
Because I retired in November, I didn't get my bonus. That was kind of a bummer.
That's the same story as your not Ralph Lauren. Is it Ralph Lauren?
Yeah,
Ralph Lauren story. Siri was winning so many races, her and Tim
DeBoom, who won Kona.
That they actually canned their sponsorship because they were just making way too much money, and they did not expect them to be winning every single race, and they actually dropped them. You never drop an athlete.
But they were an amazing sponsor.
Other than they wanted you to pretend you had a boyfriend.
Yeah, well, that's a story for another time. But you have to admit that the part of that story is Ralph Lauren took me on before I'd done anything. They took me on in 1999. I hadn't won anything yet, but in taking me on and providing me with this incredible sponsorship, it wasn't money, but there were great bonuses, like for winning a world championship.
You were probably able to feed yourself properly, get your recovery, massage,
exactly,
all that treatment that you need.
Free bike, running shoes, everything. And when you're given that support, it's amazing what you can suddenly accomplish, isn't it?
Yeah. And talking about bikes, that Quintana Roo that you used to ride, which is still hanging in our garage.
Yes.
It's the same company. So Lightspeed and Quintana Roo actually are now sponsoring Team Series Tri Club. And you guys get, I can't say how much, we're not allowed to, but it's a huge amount. It's over $1,000 off. Yeah. A Quintana Roo bike. So that's really cool that they've come back around, and we're sort of family. That loyalty's still there from 1999. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sorry guys, that's our dogs barking.
But back to you. I want to know, because I know the struggle in retiring. You were forced to retire because of your injuries. But do you think mentally you were ready to retire, but it was also scary because you didn't really know what was going to be next? Like, how do you tell us a little bit about the struggle in having to make that decision?
Yeah, I think triathlon's all I knew. I started when I was 16, and I'd been doing it for 22 years. I studied exercise science, exercise nutrition, but my heart was always in the sport, and I didn't ever think about, people would say, what are you going to do when you retire? And this is another podcast for sure. But I didn't even want to think about that. And it's so ridiculous. And I never thought that I would retire. I thought I'd keep going. I remember telling Sarah I'll go till I'm about 45 because Diddy Grace Barrow's still doing amazing at like, I think she's 45 or 46 and she's still on the podium. And I thought I can still keep going and making money. But the enjoyment definitely had started to fall down, and that excitement about racing. I actually didn't have any excitement. This is the truth. I probably never admitted this. I didn't really have any excitement about racing anymore. I remember doing an adventure race and I got so excited about it because it wasn't triathlon. But the night before an Ironman, I was terrified. All I could think of, this is going to hurt so much. What if I tear my calf? What if I don't do as well as I want to, because I had done so well in the past in the event, and I just, all that expectation, and I ended up being not even wanting to actually race. I was doing it because it's all I knew, and that's, thankfully, I think the calf went in the last race because it was definitely time. And now I remember texting Mum and saying, I'm done, and I was terrified, and then a few months later saying, wow, now I'm living. Like, I wasn't even living. Like, I don't regret anything, but I wish I had retired earlier, because now I was able to give back to the sport and do more and be more and be able to give more than ever that I ever could being an athlete. So I have absolutely no regrets. I actually wish I had retired earlier now.
And the amazing Tony Robbins, who you know changed my life when I was 20 years old. I remember I had to drag you kicking and screaming to unleash the power within. And I'd done a podcast with Tony in 2016. He invited us to an event. I was so excited to go because he was like one of my greatest mentors. And you really questioned coming, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
So what made you go?
Well, my sister loved the guy. She said, and he's so good looking. I'm like, yeah, okay, that doesn't help me. But sorry, Simi, for throwing that out there. But she was like, he's amazing. I listened to all these CDs, and she had them in her car. And I was like, maybe I should just watch, like, I'm Not Your Guru. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The documentary. And I saw that, and there was a suicidal guy on there. And the way he just broke his state and just turned this guy around in an hour or two, I was blown away. And I thought, okay, he seems like he knows his stuff. Maybe I'll just go. And if you actually look, well, actually, he's on the wall behind us, so people watching this can see. But, and when I was dragged there, I didn't want to go. And I just thought, if my wife looks up to this guy like she does, and she truly, like, he is her mentor, she just everything about him, I thought I better go. So, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
And I think too, guys, if your partner, sometimes you just kind of have to go with it. If your partner's trying to get you to do something that is really something that they really want to do, especially if you're a selfish triathlete, because we all are, sometimes you just got to step outside yourself and just do it for them. And I was more doing it for Siri, but
thank you. That was really nice.
I'm absolute, like, I feel like I'm one of the number one fans now of Tony Robbins and of those incredible events, because it did change my life. It made me realize triathlon's not everything, and it's not my identity. There's so many more things that I love and I value, and I'm just so grateful for you dragging me to that event. So I don't regret that.
Well, I'm so grateful for you being open-minded, and I know you did it for me in the beginning, and I'm so thankful that you did, because he really is such an incredible teacher. You know, basically, I think for every athlete, I feel like if both of us went back to racing now, which we never would, but I bet
we'd be better athletes.
We'd be better athletes, because we would understand that there's so much more to life than just the sport. And that would mean that winning or losing, which for us, was
everything.
Well, I've learned now that it's winning or learning. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as losing, because when you lose or when you fall short or when you fail, you learn the most. And when we learn, we grow. And when we grow, we're moving forward. And that's all that matters, because that makes us happy. But I feel like knowing that we know that there's so much more about us than just who we are as athletes, you can bring so much more to the table if we did want to race. And I encourage everyone out there, all of you athletes, to look at yourself as a whole person, not just what you've done in the sport, but look at yourself about the kind of daughter you are, or son you are, or husband, or wife, or friend, or teacher, or dog mom, whatever you are. Think about all the amazing things that you bring into this world.
And when someone asks you, oh, what do you do? Don't just say, I'm a triathlete. like I said, I'm a dad of two. That's why when the culture we've developed now in our club is just amazing. People go on and they write about, I say, don't just talk about like, because a lot of triathletes, you even look at their Twitter profiles or their Facebooks, triathlete, and they have their splits up there and
you should be proud.
And that's great. But what about, who are you? Like, who is your family? What food do you love? Like, what do you like to do on your off days? You probably don't have off days. Where do you like to holiday? Like anything. It doesn't just have to be about the sport. And I think when you start to think about that, actually people step outside themselves and go, oh yes, it's not just about swim, bike, run. It's about who we become.
And I would encourage all of you to think about this. What lights your soul on fire? Now, if it's the sport, great, but what is it about the sport? What is it about the sport that lights your soul on fire? Is it the process of taking on intense challenges and overcoming them? Is it the relationships that are being formed, and you love connection, you love being a part of something bigger than just you? What is it about the sport that lights your soul on fire? When you can answer that question and take time to think about it, you'll find out who you are as a human being and what your mission is on this planet. And so I encourage all of you to think about that, your deeper why, your deeper purpose, your greater mission.
And I know for one of my favorite athletes, they're all my favorites, but Brian Orbican, he was overweight. He had a family of 5. His wife also suffers from chronic Parkinson's. And he said, and there was a time where he wanted to quit, and he said to me, I couldn't do it because I didn't want to look at my kids and for them to say, Daddy, why are you eating again? Why have you put on this weight? You can't even play with this anymore. And I could not wake up and think of them saying that to me. And that's his deeper why. And a lot of the time it comes back to that. And he's doing it for himself, but he's also doing it so that his dad's around in 20 years' time and can play with his kids. And I'm just so proud of him. And all of our athletes, I get messages all the time. It's so beautiful if you're a part of Team Sarah's Tri Club and you join, you'll see on the Facebook that they just say that everything in their life has changed. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that we've had amazing community, and we love that it doesn't end up being about swim, bike, run. It ends up being about the community and the friendships developed in our club, and that's what we're just so proud of.
Absolutely. And like for me, I mean, I'm just all about love, and I wanted love in my life. I wanted to find this love that I found with you, but I also knew that until I was able to love myself, I could never love someone else the way I dreamt of loving them, because you can only love someone else as much as you love yourself. You can only respect someone else as much as you respect yourself. You can only appreciate someone else as much as you appreciate yourself. So when you think of it that way, my time in the sport was to find a love and appreciation for myself. And once I found that, I can now bring that love to you and to my animals and to my athletes and to everyone who I'm fortunate enough to be able to share my life with.
I think I remember you telling me when I first started being coached by you, that you said you have to learn to love yourself. And I went, love yourself? Like, that's stupid. And I was so emotionally immature, and it was crazy because it was only about 6 years ago. I didn't really understand what she meant, and I thought, I don't want to love myself. And I definitely did not love myself, because all I knew was that I could love myself a little bit if I won a race. That was the whole way I defined love for myself, and that was just so wrong. But it's crazy to think that's how I thought of myself. And so many athletes, whether they're pros or age groupers, that's their mindset. So it was. I was going to say, like, your rules for loving yourself were so hard to achieve. Like, you had to win a race to love yourself. Like, you're making it so hard to love yourself. Think about, what does it take for you to love yourself? And I don't mean like, oh yeah, I love myself. I mean like just like a love and appreciation where you care about yourself. You're your own biggest supporter. Yeah. What does it take for you to feel love for yourself? Make sure that the rules you have. It should be an easy rule to meet too, guys. Like, I can look out, appreciate the beautiful sunrise, and say, wow, I just love that I can appreciate this and enjoy life, and I feel so grateful.
So I
love being in that moment.
So you feel a love for yourself when you know that you're appreciating life.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
And you can do that so easily. What about you?
If I just make someone smile, if I see someone on the street and they look down and I can put a smile on their face, that makes me feel good about who I am, because I am all about bringing love into this world and trying to help people find that love for themselves and have the ability to love fearlessly. That's huge.
What if someone's value wasn't, say their top value, we can talk about it that way, wasn't to love or to love themselves? It was like more of a significantly driven value. Like, what if they were all about significance? How would that change someone as an athlete or as a person?
Well, if you are driven by significance, it's dangerous. You know, it's dangerous in relationships. I feel like if you want to be significant in order for people to love you, you can be far more significant loving others than trying to be something or create something or to stand out in order to be loved. It sets up a dangerous pattern in your life. So if you can start by thinking about, hey, I can be significant winning a race, but I can be significant every day if I just love my partner, or if I just am a good father or a good friend, or I can be there for others. That makes you way more significant than winning a race.
That's how you'll be remembered. You'll be remembered the person that was able to, I don't know, stay behind and autograph signatures rather than run from the finish line and not want to be talking to anyone or giving back to the sport. And I think that's where the real champions are remembered. I remember someone saying to me, I think I've talked about this before, but Beck's the one that gave Chrissy the CO2. And I'm actually really proud that's how I'm remembered, because that's who I am. Like, and I've always been a giver. My twin sister might be the only person that suffered before I was the age of about 10. I probably used to like steal off her and not give her what she wanted, but I had to learn to share as a twin. I think that was one great thing I can thank my twin sister for, because it was always intrinsic for me to want to share and give back. And it's still what we're doing now with our Believe Ranch and Rescue with the horses. It feels so much better and more fulfilling, and there's just a sense of, I don't know, euphoria when you see you've saved and made a difference to these lives of these horses that have never had a voice or have been abused or neglected. And for me, that is like your why. We said your why can change. That's my big why. I wake up every day thinking, what can I do today to make a difference in these lives of these animals, or in the difference of the lives of my athletes? And that's what I do when I wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know also that in saving the animals, for us, it's not just about the animals. You know, I know for me, I can't speak for you, although I think I can. Animals saved my life. They were my one constant. They were always there loving me no matter what. That unconditional love. They taught me some of the greatest lessons in life. And so animals can be such incredible teachers. And when we talk about horses, they teach us leadership and self-awareness and trust. And so we have a big plan to involve humans and all types of people, giving them an opportunity to learn from these beautiful souls. And the ones that have been rescued, like,
wow, the change is like,
they're so, like, it's unbelievable to see the turnaround, and there's so much to learn from these animals. So it's really us being so incredibly determined to make a difference, not only in these animals' lives, but in the humans that will also bring in contact with them.
And we're going to be able to, I don't know if we can announce it yet, can we? We're actually going to be able to do that in a much bigger way very, very soon. And we're going to be able to touch a lot more people's lives too. So we probably won't announce that this time.
Next time.
We'll announce it next time, but stay tuned, because it's
kind of like being pregnant and not wanting to tell people until you're 4 months, right?
Yeah. But we're definitely going to be able to save more horses, touch more lives, and we can't wait to talk about that in our next show.
Yes. But for today, thank you so much for joining us on the Siri Bek Show. We are in partnership with Wisp Sports. We believe women in sport deserve equal coverage, because women are doing amazing things and we can be incredible role models. So keep doing what you're doing and be great.
And if you want to ask us any questions, please email us at teamserioustriclub@gmail.com.
And join the club, guys. Join our family. It's amazing. Don't miss out. So many incredible opportunities with the team, and we would love to have you on board. You can follow us on Facebook at Team Serious Tri Club or Believe Ranch and Rescue. or me personally at Seltz, or Rebecca at Rebecca Keith. And don't forget to follow at Wisp Sports for more on women in sport.
We also have Rebecca Keith Team Serious Triathlon for Facebook and Rebecca Keith Instagram, but we also have our Believe Ranch and Rescue.
Yes, follow all our pursuits in saving these beautiful souls on Instagram at Believe Ranch and Rescue. And we look forward to staying in contact with all of you. So thank you for being with us today on the Siri Bek Show.
Thanks, guys.